The game starts off with the Illuminati angel creating you with the purpose of purging the evil from its temple. There are odd, twisted creatures everywhere, as you can see, so the Ghostbusters can't handle this job, and that's why you're here to solve puzzles and do some platforming. You have to go through 5 different chambers within the temple, each of them featuring a different mechanic. These mechanics include redirection, power nodes that open up the exit, these clones that you can make 3 of them at a time, all with their own separate timer that you can see in the bottom left of the screen. You can also make them disappear faster, but you can't do it separately. It has to affect all of them. You also have your typical traps like spikes and arrows, and these lasers that you have to stand still in. If you move while the laser is on you, you just end up getting blasted and have to redo the puzzle. There are a couple other mechanics, but I'll leave those for you to see. Near the end of each chamber, you have a choice of a challenge or easy puzzle, both of which have the same setup in terms of how the puzzle's laid out, but the harder one has more steps, brain power, and skillful movement involved in solving it. For completing the challenge, you get some information consisting of a diary entry from a guy named Augustus, which gives more lore to the game. If you choose to do the easier room, you do get some info, but it's not a diary entry, it's usually just like a quote or something. To clarify, if you do complete the hard room, you get both the hard and easy rewards, also a stone tablet that goes towards unlocking a secret room. At the end of each chamber, there's also a boss that focuses on the mechanics of that level. These boss fights don't include any puzzle solving, they're mainly just platforming things where you avoid the boss's attacks. Then to defeat it, you have to put your clones into these power nodes that damage the boss. They're cool looking and they're something nice to look forward to at the end of each chamber. After defeating each boss, you talk to the demon witch that is the cause of the defilement of the temple. She acts like the snake in the Adam and Eve story, but instead of going against the word of God, she tries to get you to defy Pyramid Head. You do get some choices in what to say in the conversation with the witch demon, but ultimately it doesn't matter. The game is linear and your choices don't matter. After you complete a chamber, you can return to it to play a speedrun arcade mode where you try and get a high score in it, but this is just for achievements, there's nothing else to be gained from it. From what you can see in the video, the horror is mainly in the atmosphere and the visuals, but there are some cheap jump scares where you're just walking to go to the next level, and all of a sudden, with nothing built up to it or anything meaningful. I wish there was some sort of tension building up to the jump scare so it actually had something to it. It just literally comes out of nowhere. And I bet that's the whole reason why there's a message saying that the game is best with headphones. But there's nothing else in the game that warrants using headphones. Both the music and the sound effects favor the arcade side of the game, so they don't really add to the horror. Granted, there is one soundtrack that does try to give out some disturbing horror, but it's dampened by the gameplay where you're just dying and resetting a lot, particularly in the platforming focus sections, and that just breaks an immersion. Which really sucks that the gameplay and creepiness kind of clash against each other that way. Nonetheless, if you're going to use headphones, make sure to keep your volume low or you're just going to get your ears drilled into. The scariest part of this game is probably thinking that you might have tinnitus after experiencing one of the jump scares. They only happen in the main hub of the game, so everywhere else feel free to just let loose. Luckily, not all is lost with the horror because the secrets in this game usually feature better horror elements than the actual gameplay. For example, there are secret rooms in the hub that you can find that lead to different experiences. Because of that, I recommend looking for all the secrets or using a guide. Most of them are not hard to find. To me, none of it was scary. They're just cool horror stuff to look at, but you can tell how much emotion I feel by how monotone my voice is. so your experience may vary. The puzzles in this game require both thinking with the head on your shoulders, not below your pelvis, and skillful movement. The skillful movement is more so in the hard rooms and at the end of the game. Otherwise, the movement isn't hard, even with me who sucks at platformers. It's a lot more puzzle than platformer, but that shifts the other way around towards the end of the game. It never gets to the Crash Bandicoot Stormy Ascent difficulty, but sometimes it might take a good amount of tries, but I don't think many people will get stuck on a part for a while. The puzzles aren't that difficult either. They don't hold your hand, so there are some nice eureka moments when you figured out how something works, but they're not too easy, although the hard rooms can pose a challenge. Overall, the 5 chambers can be beaten in a single session of gaming. I had no technical issues that happened to me. It may be a bit short, but it was an enjoyable experience, and it doesn't cost that much. If you bought the Racial Justice and Equality bundle years ago, then you already own Tamashii. That's it for this one. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching. See ya. And who could forget that there's a moving penis in this game?